Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So this is another example of loaded mobility. These are good morning variations. So we're going to start with a barbell across the shoulders. Try to keep it as low as you can so it blocks the thoracic spine from going into flexion. And then we're going to go into a hip hinge pattern. So we'll start with the feet together, trying to keep the knees straight but not necessarily locked out. And we definitely want this motion to be dominated by the hips as opposed to by flexing the knees. Alright, so after we do a few with the knees straight, we'll go into a wider stance and we're going to repeat the same thing. So the goal here is we're using the barbell to give us a little bit of load into the hinge. Alright, but we also want to focus on not just dropping down where the barbell would load us, but also focusing on drifting back into the heel, so we're creating a posterior weight shift. The barbell also gives us some feedback so we can create some torque with the hands to create external rotation in the shoulders and help us open up the chest as we go down. So if you see people that have difficulty deadlifting and their spine, their upper back want to round a little bit, or they have difficulty packing the shoulder, this is a nice drill to just help them understand the connection of the hip hinge from head to tailbone. So looking at it from the side, trying to keep a relatively straight line from the ear down to the greater trochanter of the hip. Alright, and showing a little more extension through the spine than I'd like, but as I go into the hip hinge position, that'll neutralize a little bit. Alright, and I am working to brace the core as I go down into the position. So I don't want to just be fighting for extension of the lower back, but I want to be really trying to find a straight line. So with some of the tightness that I have in my shoulders, it pulls me into extension in my lumbar spine when I get to the top. But when I go down, that neutralizes, and I'm really trying to think about like getting the hips into the socket and getting the tailbone away from the head as I go down into the hip hinge position. And you want to see that the trochanters of the femur are behind the heel, or the lateral hip bones are behind the heel. So you're really getting that posterior weight shift. And again, the knees are as straight as you can, but not forcing them locked out. So while you're down there, you can actually do a little bit of flossing too, where you try to tighten the quads, straighten the knees all the way, and then let them bend a little bit. And every time they bend, you try to get your hips back a little bit farther. All right, so that is good morning variations. Another version of loaded mobility. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.